Another Fife castle. This one is Ravenscraig Castle, not far from the centre of Kirkcaldy. It was built around 1460, a formidable coastal fortress sitting in what's now a public park. Kirkcaldy, the ruin of Kirkcaldy Castle in its incongruous setting near tower blocks in the centre of the town. Kirkcaldy is a hard-working borough with few graces. Linoleum has been one of the mainstays of the economy ever since one Michael Nairn imported the idea from Bristol in 1823. East, along the north shore of the Firth to the Seafield Tower. Once a 4-storey tower house, the tower was built in this promontory around the year 1500. Kinghorn. The name comes from the Gaelic Ciaun Gorum, blue head. The low rocky cliffs around this town were the site of one of Scotland's great tragedies. In the year 1285, Alexander III was killed when he rode his horse off a cliff. His death plunged Scotland into more than 100 years of dynastic bloodshed and misery. The island of Inchkeith, halfway between Fife and the Lothians. Burnt Island. They say that the Roman general Agricola made Burnt Island his naval base when he began his campaign in the north in the year 83 AD. Aberdour Castle, on the edge of the town of Aberdour. In the heyday of the railways, the so-called Silver Sands of Aberdour became a favourite with Edinburgh day trippers. The lighthouse on the Oxcar Rock. World War I gun batteries on the island of Inchcolm, called after St. Columcille and sometimes known as the Iona of the East. The Augustinian Priory has been on this site since the beginning of the 12th century. King Alexander I was shipwrecked here and was so thankful to survive that he ordered the priory to be built, or so the legend has it. Tank farms and gas terminals at Brayfoot Bay. Gases are piped down from the petrochemical works at Mossmoran. Critics say that there's more energy stored here than is contained in 100 hydrogen bombs. The oil companies say it's all perfectly safe. Dalgety Bay, now virtually a suburb of Edinburgh. The Forth Railway Bridge, one of the 2 great bridges that span the Firth of Forth. A second road bridge is now being planned. This part of the journey takes us into the Firth of Forth to Grangemouth, along to Leith, and then east to North Berwick. The naval base and naval dockyard at Rosyth, once one of Britain's most important naval installations. Having lost the Trident submarine work to Devonport in the south of England, the yard is now fighting for its existence. The town of Couros, having been restored by the National Trust for Scotland, it is now an almost perfectly preserved 17th and 18th century village. The power station at Longannet. Underground roadways link it to the Longannet coalfield, the last deep mine in Scotland. The Kincardine Bridge, an unlovely structure of steel and concrete built in the 1930s. Grangemouth, the biggest concentration of petrochemicals in the United Kingdom. The old town of Bowness, or Borrowstowness, to give it its proper name. The grim shape of Blackness Castle, near Bowness, built in 1440 by Sir George Crichton. The American film star Mel Gibson used Blackness Castle as Elsinore in his film version of Hamlet. Hopetoun House, commissioned in 1696, it was designed by Sir William Bruce. It is arguably the finest stately home in Scotland and stuffed with paintings by Rubens, Van Dyck, Tintoretto, Rembrandt and Canaletto. The town of South Queensferry, now straddled by the two bridges. Barnbogle Castle on the edge of the Firth. This piece of Victoriana was run up in the 1880s as a library for the 5th Earl of Rosebery. But this is the Rosebery family's main residence, the neo-Gothic extravagance of Dalmeny House. The village of Cramond, where the River Armand runs into the Firth of Forth. There was a Roman fort here at the east end of the Antonine Wall.